social sciences, engineering, management, and others. As design disciplines have absorbed these influences, they have become richer and more interesting. For example, designers owe a debt to anthropology by noting how they do ethnographic research, which is a big part of the design thinking process. Psychology is another major field that furnishes design with the principles of user experience and interaction design. Third, and most interestingly, has been the technological and macroeconomic changes that have occurred over time. We live in a far more globalized world now. New technologies such as PC and internet have been great upheavals for designers. Computer numeric control revolutionized manufacturing. A further jolt to the system occurred when Steve Jobs announced the Apple iPhone in 2007 that shifted the economic and technological center of gravity online and towards mobile devices and brought us the applications and connectivity that we see today with electronic payments, online shopping, social media, and gaming. This has proved to be a great opportunity for designers, and education has followed suit. In India, while the demand for traditional fields such as graphic design, interior design, accessory design, jewelry design, and product design is strong. So what you saw in the previous slide was basically the floating solar panels. In Japan, early last year, it was planned to build the world's largest floating solar installation in terms of power produced. The 51,000 solar panels, which will live on the surface of the Yamakura Dam reservoir, roughly 43 miles southeast of Tokyo, will have a capacity of 6,170 megawatt hours per year of production. That will be sufficient to provide electricity throughout the year to more than 5,000 households. I now pass on to Dr. Philip to please educate us on the project further. Thank you, sir.
Hello, Rajiv. Can you hear me?
You're audible, clear and loud.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. Good morning in Europe, good afternoon in India. Thank you very much, Rajiv, for organizing this event. It is a pleasure to be here, and I'm very happy to share information about our project and our results. So I will start by sharing my presentation. Okay, my presentation has actually three parts. So the first part is a short introduction in the Desinno project. Actually, most of the material is covered earlier by Rajiv. The second part is about the results that we have produced, mainly in the first stage of the program, where we have done some research in the design sector in India. And the third part is a very brief overview of our activities in my university and our approach in product design, engineering, and education. As Rajiv said earlier, Desinno is an Erasmus Plus program. It is funded under the action of capacity building in higher education. It is a 3-year project. We are now running the third year of the project, and it is supposed officially to end at next November. There are 7 partners, 3 Indian universities mentioned earlier, 3 European universities and one consultants agency in Greece. The project aims at establishing innovation capacities in the design sector in India through improved education built on transfer of good practices and curriculum content from European universities to Indian universities. Under this project, we are going to establish three design and innovation centers in the local universities. And these design and innovation centers will provide common ground with collaboration with the industry for the development of innovative and permanent methods for research and design, for the establishment of projects with the collaboration and learning of industrial partners, for the deployment of extreme affordability principles, for the development of community-based programs, and finally for the modernization and internationalization of the Indian universities by improving product and service design courses following state-of-the-art methodologies in design thinking, sustainability, social innovation, and so on. These centers will be equipped with some basic but necessary equipment like 3D printers, 3D scanners, CNC milling machines, laser cutters, workstation PCs, and software for parametric product design and reverse engineering software. And we expect to develop services both internally. By internally, we target the group of faculty members, and we target the students, so they have access to a lab that can help them in their educational purposes and their research purposes of the university. But also we target also external people. Like industrial partners, like small firms, even individual professional designers, or even grassroots inventors that will have access to this. We call it as one-stop shop, where they can have access to state-of-the-art equipment and software for producing, for developing their idea, their concept, their product. In parallel, we are going to establish some pilot projects with students, with the collaboration of industrial stakeholders, taking into advantage this infrastructure. And we also plan to publish at least 3 new or improved design courses in the 3 Indian universities. There are several dissemination actions that will follow the establishment of these centers. We are going to have a roundtable discussion, which will be an event similar to this one, but will be focused on the role of these design and innovation centers in the sustainable economic growth of India. And we are also going to have a final conference with all the involved stakeholders from academia and industry. Now, let me turn our attention on the background research that we have done. We have studied the design sector in India, both in terms of market and industrial needs. And we have also studied the educational status of design in India. We have done both desk and field research with some. For the desk research, we follow some methodology which is listed here. First, we identified existing literature about design and innovation in India. We also analyzed the background, context, and statistical data and trends of design and innovation in India. We have identified sectorial reports, articles, and studies about the design sector in India. We have identified university education in India, of course, education in design in India. We have reviewed several European good practices related to design education, and we have identified a list of design courses that could be improved at the Indian universities. For the field research, we have set up two target groups. The first, the primary target group, consisted of academicians, experts, and staff of the Indian universities. And the second target group consists of experts, companies, trainers, and professional designers, and industrial stakeholders, not within the three Indian universities. We have also set up a focus group, which was a mixture of academicians and industrial stakeholders. The purpose of this field research was to assess the perceived education and infrastructure needs related to design and innovation for the professional designers and also for the universities in the sector. We would like also to have some data on perceived problems, challenges in the design sector, and also to assess the level of research and innovation within companies and educational progress in the design sector. I will present some of the outcomes of this research. I will start with the outcomes of the desk research. These are some general remarks about design sector in India. In 2016, the design market in India was estimated to be around 50 billion rupees. Nowadays, it is estimated to be around 110 billion rupees. In that time, 2016, there were about 7,000 qualified designers in India and about 5,000 trainers in design education. Nowadays, it is estimated that the requirements for design qualified professionals are more than 60,000 people. So there is a big need for qualified graduates in the design sector. Since qualified designers are less than the need, a major part of design activities has been undertaken by non-designer graduates and other trained personnel, for example, mechanical engineers, textile engineers, and so on, who obtain skills from product design on the job. However, we have witnessed that in the last 10 years, there is a big improvement of the status of the design professions in India, and this is reflected by the establishment of the India Design Council and the establishment of several associations of Indian designers. However, still the concept of professional designer who is a multidisciplinary and functions in a wide variety of situational contexts is still not received very well from the society. Most people believe for a long time that design was or is an artistic work or that it is limited to engineering design. Although this appears to have changed due to the successful development of full Indian consumer industrial products, people still fail to understand that design is interwoven in many aspects of modern life, including the use of IT technologies and services. Another aspect that we have focused on is the grassroots innovation networks in India, and I will explain the reason in minutes. Let me start by saying that grassroots innovations in India as a movement started at 1988 with the Honeybee network by Professor Anil Gupta. The aim of this network was to scout and bring alternative technologies into the mainstream by providing support and a proper channel for diffusion and recognition of the talent and the skills of the innovators. Grassroots innovations have different descriptions, different, let's say, definitions. I have a list of a few of them. I will state this one from Baduri and Kumar. They explain that grassroots innovations emerge usually from the informal sector. And this is very important because the informal sector is very important in low income nations like India. In India alone, the informal sector provides employment to around 90% of people. Therefore, it is very important that the grassroots innovations are supported. And nowadays, we are witnessing that various actors are supporting grassroots innovations, excuse me, and these actors include government, NGOs, and private sector. Now, I will present some statistical data. They are from a research done in 2016, maybe not very updated, but I think they give a good overview of the situation in the design education and the design sector in India. This table presents the distribution of design departments and design contractors and consultancies per design sector. We can see that industrial design, automotive design, and fast-moving consumer goods have the highest percentage of firms, companies in the design sector. However, if we add the percentages of graphic design, animation, new media, and human-computer interaction, which actually implies interaction design, we can see that there is another big percent, about 36% of companies, which are involved in digital product design and development. In this table, we are able to see the distribution of design professionals in key design sectors in India. Here we can see that a big part of these professionals is working in the digital product development, human-computer interaction, graphic design and animation. All of them add up to more than 50% of the total design professionals. And this is actually normal because it is anticipated that in the next 5 years, the market of digital products in India will be at least doubled. So there is a need for design professionals and graduates to enter to this market. This table shows design education programs at higher education level in India. We can see a lot of university programs in architecture. We can see also many university design programs in, let me say, traditional products like textiles, leather, clothes, footwear, and so on. Regarding digital products, we see that there is a lack of university programs. At least this is a picture of 2016. I'm sure these numbers have improved by now. Students prefer to enroll to programs like animation and new media due to the reason I explained earlier. There is a big need for graduates that will follow digital product development and design. But still there are a lot of students which are studying the design of traditional products like textiles, leather, footwear, and so on. Now, I will continue with some key results of our field research. And as I said, we had a group of industrial professionals, and we asked them several questions, and I will present some of them. For example, how do you manage design and innovation in your organization? We see that the majority of the industrial professionals say that they have in their organizations in-house design teams, which is a very good practice. And they are also aware of design thinking employed in industry. However, regarding modern infrastructure, we see that they lack infrastructure on rapid prototyping, digital modeling software, CNC machine, fabrication lab. These are rather low percentages. And also, it is not very likely that these percentages will be increased because the planning to buy this equipment is rather low too. There are a lot of employees in the design teams that have a diploma, not a university diploma. We see that bachelor degrees and master degrees are rather around 10% of the employees. We have asked how much the following industry-associated activities are important for strengthening the connection between industry and academia. We have indicated a few activities like talks and lectures, internships, academic scholarships funded by design industry, workshops, industry visits, offering of services related to the use of academic design and innovation labs. And we can see that most of these, almost all of these aspects are considered important and are gaining high scores by the industrial professionals. Now I will continue with the results of our academicians. We had 50 responses, 50 academicians involved in our research. Not all of them have design courses in their universities. 12% of them say that in their universities they don't have design-related courses. Regarding equipment, rapid prototyping and digital modeling software are rather low in the respective universities. They are planning to buy some of them, but still the percentages are rather moderate or low. The next question is, which of these skills of design educators need improvement according to you? It is a question to assess what are the main skills and qualifications required for a design educator. Practical and market-oriented approach, written and verbal communication, research-oriented approach, visual communication. They are getting high percentages, either 4 or 5 scores in this, so they are considered very important. Critical thinking, cooperation skills, and technology literacy, again, they are gaining high scores, so they are all considered very important as skills for design educators. And how much of the following industry-associated activities are important for design education? Again, talks and lectures, internships, academic scholarships funded by design industry, workshops, industry visits, offering of services related to the use of academic design and innovation labs. All of them are getting high scores, so they imply that they are important activities for the design education. We have also set up a focus group that took place in IIIT 2019. The main key observation from this focus group were that awareness of design courses and opportunities is required. There is a lack of expert faculties. There is a lack of design software in Indian universities. There is a requirement of financial and training support from the industry. There is a need for employment support from industry, need of incubation centers. There is a lack of innovation and need of flexibility in curriculum. These are the main observations that have been drawn from this focus group. And some notable quotes from this group are that as follows. Train the trainers. Design is something made visible intelligently. Design adds value to product more than it adds to the cost. Design is not a single dimension. It is a complex and multidimensional approach. Design should be taken as a formal response to a strategic question raised by industry or by a layman. These are just a fragment of the results that we have put together in this first stage of the program. We are going to publish all the detailed report through our website during the next period. We have, based on the data that we have analyzed, we have concluded to the following 5 recommendations for the improvement of design education in India and the design sector in general in India. The first recommendation is the establishment of design hubs in Indian universities around the country to bring together grassroots innovators and industrial designers. The second recommendation is investing in the education in fields of digital design as the country becomes more connected. The third recommendation is the incorporation of design thinking, strategic design, and service design in the DNA of Indian companies. The fourth recommendation is integrating traditional craft practices in contemporary design practice. And the fifth recommendation is the fostering of grassroots innovation and scaling up such innovation to industrial products. Now I will move to the last part of my presentation. I will say a few words about my university, which is the University of the Aegean. It is a relatively young university. It is established in 1984, and since then it has been involved into an international research-oriented university with 18 undergraduate and 40 postgraduate programs, 6 schools and 18 departments, and more than 16,000 undergraduate students and 2,000 postgraduate students and 650 PhD students. In 2015, an external evaluation of all Greek universities has been performed by some external committees, and our university has received the highest score among all Greek universities. I come from the Department of Product and System Design Engineering. This is the Aegean Sea and the islands of the Aegean Sea. Our university is a network university connecting 6 different islands of the Aegean Sea. My department is in this island called Syros. It is actually located in the capital of Syros, which is called Hermopolis. My department has been established in 2000 and nowadays there are more than 1,000 undergraduate and postgraduate students in the department. Regarding our undergraduate studies, we are a product and systems design engineering department, and we are focusing on the integrated design of modern and emerging products, systems and services, following the new approaches in the disciplinary area of design. We also have a postgraduate studies, a Master of Science program on integrated product design and innovation. Our curriculum structure offers 300 ECTS. It is a 5-year program, and the graduates gain a diploma in engineering, which is equivalent to a master's degree diploma. Our curriculum is fully in line with internationally recognized practices. And we offer a variety of course modules. The first 3 years, all courses are compulsory. Then the next 2 years, all courses are selective, so that the students are able to select and get more knowledge on 3 different streams which are human-computer interaction, computer-aided design, and service design. In the department, we are trying to combine, along with the expression, traditional design methodologies like, for example, ideation, creativity, concept design, and so on, with engineering design approaches, which are more analytic and more deterministic, because we want our graduates to have various skills and to understand not only the design part of a product, but we will also like to have knowledge on how this product, this concept, this idea, this design can be evolved and become a final physical product or a digital product. Therefore, it is necessary to introduce them also to the engineering design thinking. Our graduates are successful. We, through our research we've done in 2015, we've seen that about 74% of all of our graduates are employed. 72%, I'm sorry. It is interesting to note that about 1/3 of them is working outside Greece in countries like UK, German, Poland, countries with a very competitive economy. So this gives a feedback to us that the skills that we give to them, we provide to them, the skills that they are gaining through their studies in our department are competitive, and they can find works not only in Greece but outside Greece also. I think I will make a pause here. I have some other stuff, but I think I did it time. As I said earlier, the data and the results I presented are just a fragment of what we have collected and analyzed in this project. And we are going to release all of this data through our channels in our webpage, our Facebook channel, and Twitter, and so on. So you are all invited to join these channels, and get this data. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Philip, for a very elucidating presentation. You have detailed us about what the consortium partners are building brick by brick, the design ecosystem, design education ecosystem here in India through their synergy. I'm sure we shall be able to establish centers of excellence as per global benchmark standards and practices here and live up to the expectation of the project. I would like to share another visual with the attendees to identify in the next 10 seconds as an icebreaker. Let me see how this design project has been able to help the masses. You can write your answers on the chat box. Okay, the time is up. So just to tell you about the project, this is a smog-eating tower. A smog-eating tower. The World Health Organization, WHO, estimates that air pollution causes 2.4 million deaths in China every year. Though many environmental innovations have been proposed in the country, so one project that shows serious promise is the smog-free tower, the smog-eating tower that you just saw in the earlier slide, created by Dutch designer Anne Roosgaard and his Netherlands-based team. The 23-foot high structure, which was built in Beijing in 2016, operates as a giant air purifier using ion technology to attract roughly 30,000 cubic meters of pollution every hour. True to its eco-friendly intent, the tower operates almost exclusively on wind energy. This is another example of design, how it is helping control pollution. Now I would just like to say that creative and innovation is the key buzzword for design education. And the products and the services that are offered, they have to be need-based, consumer-centric, use available resources, be sustainable and eco-friendly. I will just share two videos with you of 33 seconds each, just to help you understand and grasp how good this particular career would be as a design engineer. I think a specially designed spoon for people of Parkinson, suffering from Parkinson disease, where they are able to eat food on their own. An excellent product which is need-based, consumer-centric, and designed for a particular health area. The large number of people in the world who suffer from this incurable disease. And another video which I'm going to share with you, the menace of sludge is immense, and this small product is of great help and can be used in each and every household of the world. This again is an innovation of immense use and utility for the people at large. I'm sure you'll find design education and design engineering very interesting and make it your career choice. Our next expert panelist, Ms. Arianna Vignati from Politecnico di Milano, Italy. Arianna is a researcher and expert professor at the School of Design at Politecnico di Milano. She is expert in the field of creative companies, and in particular in the field of services for the development and support of startup phases. She was in the technical board of CICALP's project, the European project focused on development of creative companies, and she has been the project manager for the activities developed by Politecnico di Milano. Presently, she is project manager for CREA Summer Academy, European project founded by the Horizon 2020 program and started recently. She has taught at many international master degree courses in Italy and at international courses. She's been a mentor for several startups, companies, and she has also evaluated as an expert. She works with Polyhub, the incubator, and business angels and investors for scouting of innovative startups in the field of creative industry. I request Ariana to please interact with us and share your words of wisdom on this webinar. Thank you so much. Ariana, please.
Thank you, Raji, for your invitation, and thank you, Philip, for your very interesting speech, because I can maybe go more in depth on two topics we have explored in the research for Desinno, but also in the concrete activities we are doing with the Indian universities. I want to focus my speech on two main fields of education, but also very interesting topic for future designers, human-centered design. Can you,
Ariana? I would like to interrupt your talk. I'm just trying to tell my viewers, my attendees, and all of you here that we are joined by Dr. Ramanan, who is the mission director for the Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, the Government of India initiative, and we are very happy to have him with us. And Atal Innovation Mission is Government of India's flagship initiative to create and promote a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of our country. Its objective is to develop new programs and policies for fostering innovation in different sectors of the economy, provide platforms and collaboration opportunities for different stakeholders, and create an umbrella structure to oversee the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem of the country. Dr. Ramana sir, a warm welcome to you to be part of this webinar, and we thank you for your presence. You may continue, Ariana, ma'am, please.
Thank you very much for your to have you here for this webinar. I hope you can understand a little bit on our activities and the project Desinno. Okay, I come back on my presentation. Let me know if you see my screen. As I said, I want to concentrate my speech on two main topics, human-centered design and service design. Because first of all, because they are the field of expertise that I'm trying to explore in my research and teaching activities, but also because they were the drivers we used for one specific action performing in the Desinno project. Thanks to Desinno, we are trying as Politecnico, Brunel University, and also Aegean University, we are trying to support our Indian partners in the development of 3 design and innovation centers, both in terms of teaching activities, then new courses new maybe new teaching activities offered for students, but also for professionals. But at the same time, we want to support the Indian partners in establish, thanks to these centers, new services for the overall community of actors around the university, companies, public institutions, NGOs, and also communities of people. And I can say that at the beginning of our project, we had a clear idea on how to do that because of some experiences we had in the past thanks to other projects. Then our idea is, okay, we have some experiences, we have some knowledges, then we can put in practice in the context of India everything we know. But due to the emerging global situation after the starting of the pandemic last February, then 1 year ago, we started to completely change our approach in terms of method and tools, not in terms of objectives, because we are strictly focused on the objectives presented by Rajiv and Philip, but adopting, I can say, a resilient approach, which is actually the real approach that designers should have, especially in this moment. The pandemic, the emergency of COVID started exactly when we should start with our capacity building program last year. And the capacity building program is a core, one of the core of Desinno, because it was an opportunity for European universities to share knowledge and also to simulate training activities with a focus on emerging topics in the field of design. And in particular, as Polytechnic, we were addressed to support the exploration of the human-centered design and the service design. It was very interesting for us to first of all, to share with all the partners a sort of training framework. At the beginning of each training activity, we need to understand which is the training framework we want to adopt. And we were very focused on define the learning activities in the capacity building task as a learning experience, as a very immersive and practical learning experience for, first of all, for the Indian partners, for the professors in the Indian universities, but of course, transferring them the ability to transform or actually to build their course with the same approach, with the same learning approach. In the proposal of Desinno, this immersive and practical experience has been taught as a real physical experience for professors that in the proposal should come in London, in Milan, in Greece, in Syros Island, for a couple of weeks in order to have this immersive practical experience. And it was exactly what we have tested in several research activities, because this experience, this practical learning experience is exactly what professionals in the field of design are implementing. Theory and practice is always a boundary in which design works. Then our initial idea was to go in deep in this direction and try to perform a real experience for professors, and then teach to them how to implement in their courses the same experience. Then design between learning and practice, but with a specific idea. Users and customers and communities are now at the center of our design activities, and they should be always involved in the overall design practice and program. And this is from our side a new future for the teaching activities in the field of design, but also in the professional activities. Always users are at the center of the mind of designers, but we are shifting from an user-centered design approach to a human-centered design logic, then to a new logic that think about users not only at the beginning, at the end of the design process, but along the chain of the activities of ideation, inspiration, ideation, and implementation. We decided to adopt a specific methodology to work with our Indian partners that we call the trained trainers. The idea is to put the professors in the same, let's say, context of their students. And it's very interesting to see this shifting of role. A professor in the role of students can better understand on how to engage students in the training activities with an hands-on approach. And we adopted exactly this approach with some challenges, with some very practical activities in order to, first of all, transfer some methods, tools, and also processes, but at the same time implementing this process methods and tools in exactly in the same activities, in the same teaching activities professors could implement for their students. Then we had a long experience in this type of methodology, but especially with the public institutions, with the associations, in order to transfer some knowledges in the better way. We decided also to adopt the 4 learning styles methodology based on the Kolb theory of the learning experience, and it's the way to balance the concrete experience and the abstract conceptualization and the active experimentation with the reflective observation, especially in the design field. And we have created this sort of model with some specific tools and with the sort of balancing among all these parts of the learning experience in order to have a concrete and immersive learning experience, but with different tools, with observation, with the use of ethnography. Rajid mentioned this as one of the interesting approach that designers have to use today, prototyping, also with in parallel the possibility to learn from lectures, from case studies, from literatures, but at the same time with a concrete application of tools and methods thanks to a workshop activity. It was for me very interesting. The last one of the last part of this model, that is the area of reflection. Every day in our capacity building, we had a sort of warm up. I love this moment in every lecture, because it's a way to learn from the others, learn from the reflection of the other participants of the course, and both from the side of professors, but also for students. Then we try to start from this model to set up specific activities in the capacity building program. As I said at the beginning, we had a certain idea when we wrote the proposal, but due to the pandemic, we completely changed our approach. And the idea to have an immersive experience, face-to-face, physical experience in Milan, in London, and in Syros changed. Not in London, because maybe the last week available to do something physical was the week of the capacity building in London. But after that, especially for our capacity building and for the one of the Desinno University, we shift completely on a blended learning approach. I can say that for me, COVID was a great opportunity to learn on how to teach in a completely different ways. And the capacity building with the Indian partners was exactly, offered to me exactly this opportunity to redesign completely the capacity building with the blending the e-learning approach, combining online interactions and offline interaction, empowering Indian professors and assistants to work in a team in offline, let's say, and to interact with me and with my colleagues, and of course among them during online activities. We have tested some specific media tools. We have tested some specific gamified learning activities like challenges, workshop, and micro-learning activities in order to be very focused on the topics. And of course, in parallel, workshop assignments and co-working activities. The first focus we have implemented in our capacity building program was the human-centered design. I use every time this video for my students to speak about the human-centered design, because you can design a very complex product, but at the end, if you don't know exactly what your user, customers, communities want, the risk is to waste time, money, materials, and so on. Then this approach supports designers today, but also teachers in implement a new set of tools able to learn directly from people by understanding their hope, their fears, their needs, not only their needs, but everything about their dreams and their expectation. But it's also a new way to habilitate people to make, to co-create along the design process. Then not only listen and understand, but also to engage people in the design process. The second focus of our capacity building was the service design. And first of all, we started to understand what we mean with service. Services are interactions and encounters within a context in which actors, products, places, and infrastructures co-produce benefits and value. Then there is I can say everything about design: products, places, communication, interactions. It's a new area for professional activities, especially thinking about on how the sharing economy is growing, and in the next future maybe will grow again. And the design and the human-centered design approach is the base for the service design. And it's also a new area for a multidisciplinary approach. And considering universities in which there are different fields of knowledge, this area could be really interesting also in terms of research and teaching. Service design helps to visualize the experience, to explore the systems, to identify useful insights, and to reflect on the encounters, the touch points in which users and activities can interact. The overall aim of the capacity building were, first of all, to share knowledge about our system or our design system. And after this introduction, I want to briefly introduce the complexity of our design system, share knowledge on service design and human-centered design, and but again, have an hands-on experience, especially for the Indian partners, in order to understand what kind of tools they could use in the design of new courses for their universities, and start to think about real services they could implement in their labs. We tested some interesting tools of Teams we are using for this webinar, but also Slack and Mural, new platforms in order to have in the virtual room not the same experience, but the same possibility to interact with the colleagues, with the partners in the learning experience. Thanks to Teams, we had the possibility to record a session, to have lectures, to interact among us. Thanks to Slack, we had the chance to chat and to work together also in the offline activities, to share insights, questions, and for us it's now a real interesting tool for the co-working activity. And Mural, that was for us an interesting tool, because it allows to have co-design session live on the same virtual platform. We suggested to Indian partners to start to use this platform in order to simulate what happened in a virtual brainstorming. But one of the most interesting ingredients of the capacity building, but from my side, as an input for the future of the design centers the Indian partners are establishing, is to think about a systemic approach in use design as a new knowledge and leverage for the growth of your country. We started to share our experience in order to support the professors in understand in their situation which ingredients are part of this system. From our side, we have this complex ecosystem: the School of Design, the Department of Design, Polydesign, and some labs, and Polyhub. And this is only the ecosystem of design for the Politecnico di Milano. Consider that in Politecnico there are 3 different areas of expertise: engineering, architecture, and design. For each of these areas, there are a lot of different ecosystems with the aim to set up the good network of, let's say, organizations able to engage young people, students, startups, companies, public institutions, and so on. I want to very in a short time present you this ecosystem. First of all, the School of Design, that is the sixth school in the QS World Ranking, because it has a long history based on the Italian design history. We are working in the School of Design in a new area of innovative didactic. We are working in especially due to the pandemic, we are accelerating this approach to providing to students new tools to learn. For example, thanks to the preparation of MOOCs, we have a specific platform called Open Knowledge Platform of Politecnico, and we are working also in implementing some research labs, some design labs in which students can find tools, knowledges, expertise able to support their design journey. But we have also an important part of, no, maybe we have also an important part of our system that is Polyhub. Polyhub is the incubator of Politecnico di Milano, and this incubator is starting to work hard in the design field, in the creative and cultural economy, supporting our students in start their own startups based not only on the technology-driven approach, but with the meaning design-driven approach. Then with a real support in establishing new companies in the field of design. Thanks to different services, scouting, tutorship, mentorship, open innovation sessions, we are supporting our students in also think about the possibility to become entrepreneurs and not only professionals in studios or companies. Another very important part of our system is Polydesign. Polydesign is the consortium of Politecnico di Milano. It's private, but with the participation of Politecnico, with 20 years of experience especially in the field of design, with the different activities, master programs, high courses, activities with the companies, contests, webinar, matchmaking events, in order to empower our capacity to diffuse the design knowledge and the design potential in the society, but also especially in the companies. Polydesign is working especially in establishing a new network of schools, companies, public actors around the world, because our aim is to, of course, share knowledge, but also create a network of specific competence around the design. Just to close my presentation, I want to summarize the, let's say, trajectories, future of the design education based on the experience we had on the capacity building done with Indian partners. First of all, there are two focuses very interesting for my side, three focuses, because we have human-centered, we have two horizontal focuses for the future of design. One is human-centered design, another one is strategic design, and one vertical opportunity to explore new fields for teaching and research activity, which is a service design. We can implement specific methodology on especially in this moment, using the best side of the blended learning to support a real learning experience, not only for professors, but also for students. And we have the chance to create a combination of digital and physical tools to empower the learning experience of our students. And we need to have a systemic approach. Here you can see the quadruple helix innovation system. That means when we start to design a course or a learning experience, we need to understand all the ecosystem around our university, the civil society, the industry, the government, in order to create a sort of framework in which our students can find for their future a real opportunity. Life for me.
Thank you, Ariana, for a very the new future design education on human-centric design and service design for us. And I'm sure we have realized the importance of the methodology you have used, and we shall try to gain out of it. Let me share, the Indian startup ecosystem is of great interest to the angel investors world over, and sure you shall find them interesting as well. And let me tell you that in India we have a slogan called Atam Nirbhar India, given by the government of India, which literally means self-dependent India. We are not inward looking, as a matter of fact, but we wish to be self-dependent, and we have opened our shores for new technology to be imbibed into the Indian industry. And it's here that the startups help, and design education will definitely be a step further in achieving this particular targets. Now I would request and I invite Dr. R. Ramanan, the Mission Director at Atal Innovation Mission, the Niti Aayog, Government of India, to please share some of his inspiring thoughts as to how the Government of India initiatives are encouraging the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the country. Dr. Ramanan, please.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me to this very, very illustrious panel of speakers. It was wonderful to hear Dr. Ariana, right, talk about design thinking and human-centric design and service-centric design, which is very, very important. And especially when you consider in a country like India, which is 1.3 billion people, which has more than 4,000 small towns and cities. It has more than 715 districts. It has over 650,000 villages in our country. It has 8 tier 1 cities, and the remaining are all tier 2, tier 3 cities and rural India. It is very important to ensure that design thinking, human-centric thinking, service-oriented thinking, all of these percolate into every one of the innovations, the products, the services, the processes that are used in order to be able to come up with useful products and services for the community and for the progress of the economy. As was introduced, my name is Ramanan. I'm the Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission. And the Atal Innovation Mission is a national innovation and entrepreneurship initiative. The whole initiative is within the auspices of the Niti Aayog. The Niti Aayog is a national institution for transforming India. And as the name suggests, it is the think tank for creating new initiatives, digital initiatives, and other initiatives that will ensure the rapid progress of our nation, not only from an economic point of view, but also from a societal point of view. For after all, like I said, India is a country with 1.3 billion people. But more importantly, these 1.3 billion people constitutes of 65% of our country under 35 years old. So it's a very young country. And it is one of the youngest countries of the world, and it will continue to remain like this for the next 20 to 30 years. It is estimated that even by 2050, India will still be among the youngest nations of the world. But therein lies a very important responsibility for the country. And that is, how do you harness this demographic dividend that we talk about, this youthful energy that is available in our country, the young students coming out from over 1.4 million schools, over 10,500 engineering and related institutions, over 39,000 colleges, and coming from the 715 districts of our country, how do we ensure that we empower them with the knowledge, the skills, the tools, the methodologies, and the processes to make them the innovators of tomorrow? It is not enough for India to be a nation of job seekers. After all, to sustain and to subsist 1.3 billion people requires a whole lot of new job creators, new innovators that this country should have. We need a nation of entrepreneurs. We don't need just a nation of job seekers. And our whole educational system has so far been focusing on rote learning. Get good marks, go into a good university, get good marks again, go to a university abroad, like Desinno in Italy, or go get good marks again and go and join a company as a job seeker. But what we need is, while it has served us well, it has created a great impact. India is one of the fastest growing educational workforces in the world. And that is evident in the fact that more than $190 billion ITES industry has sprung out from India just over the past 15, 20 years. That's an amazing growth for a country of our size and for making an impact in the global arena. The best global technology companies and the best banks and financial service companies across the world are leveraging Indian talent for their growth. But what has brought us here will not take us further. In order to take us further, we need our young students to become innovators, problem solvers, designers of solutions. New solutions that are required in a COVID-19 world and in a post-COVID-19 world. And also, India has several challenges. We have 22% of our country below the poverty line. We have 44% of our country agri-economy based. We have still, out of the 715 districts, 115 are aspirational districts. And these are districts which have lowest access to education, healthcare, clean water, drinking water and sanitation, access to clean waste management, access to basic hygiene. So these are several challenges that we have in our country. At the same time, we have three very, very important things which are going positive for India. First and foremost, like I said, the demographic dividend. That is a fantastic opportunity to convert the young students of today into the transforming agents, the change makers of tomorrow. Second, we have one of the fastest growing economies of the world. Barring the COVID-19 crisis, we have been growing at 6 to 8% every year. And that is a great growth for supporting innovation, for supporting entrepreneurship, for supporting new skills development. And thirdly, we are living in a world where technology is changing the very shape of the world that we are living in. It is changing the way we are experiencing the world, and it is changing the way the world is experiencing us. And that is why, even in a COVID-19 situation, which has created grievous disruption to lives and livelihoods, which has created national lockdowns, which has disrupted supply chains across the world, we are still able to communicate and have life going as usual because of the benefits of digital technology, because of innovations that have happened leveraging emerging technologies. And therefore, it is very important for us when we have these three very positive factors: a demographic dividend, a fast-growing economy, and an exponentially changing technology landscape, but technology which is becoming affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. How do you bring all these three factors to create and promote an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship across the length and breadth of our country, so that the young students of today will become the job creators of tomorrow, the innovators of tomorrow, the problem solvers of tomorrow. And the COVID-19 situation, a crisis, has also created in us a great awareness of the importance of design thinking and human-centric thinking. You have suddenly realized that many of the solutions that are existing in the world are not good enough to meet challenges of this nature. You need to be more empathetic towards the problems of people. For example, during this particular crisis, we had millions of migrant workers who were returning back to their homes and who needed to be supported, who needed to be safely escorted to their places because they wanted to be with their families. But it also created a grievous disruption of their livelihoods. How do you ensure that livelihoods don't get affected in a similar crisis going in the future? How do you ensure that climate change related issues do not become a major issue? Because today, climate change is that threat which is above our heads and which can descend any time with a ferocity even bigger than what the COVID-19 crisis unleashed. So we have all of these challenges of a COVID-19 world and a post-COVID-19 world, and unless we are able to create the necessary skills, leveraging emerging technologies like 3D printing, robotics, IoT, miniaturized electronics, augmented virtual reality, artificial intelligence, unless we use all these technologies to create the solutions of the future, and every solution is going to have some technology element inbuilt in it. But to leverage this technology and to build the skills, you also need to be familiar with 21st century skills. And these 21st century skills are design thinking skills. How do you empathize with the various problems that others face? How do you put yourself in their shoes and then say, if I'm creating a solution, how is this solution going to be used? How is it going to be leveraged? Is it easy to use? Is it easy to implement? How does it fit into the entire life cycle of the product? As Aryan said, you have to think through the entire service chain, value chain of the product, not just the end user, but also all the intermediate users who are going to be rendering that service or going to be using that product. How do you ensure that you define the problem very accurately? Because in design thinking, it is important to define the problem. And problem definition happens when you make research, when you study, when you explore, and when those four elements that Aryan talked about, and that is active reflection, reflective observations, participation, and then making sure that you develop the prototypes and you are providing the tools and technology for being able to improve upon your design, iterate upon your design, and come up with a solution that not only works, but is affordable, accessible, simple, and is easy to use and has the maximum impact. And this means the process of ideating a solution for a problem that you accurately define, and then creating prototypes and ensuring that that prototype gets engineered and re-engineered to a point of actual practical use and affordable use and affordable cost, and finally testing it out with a whole galaxy of users who are then able to give feedback and make sure that the product improves in a cycle of continuous improvement. That is critical in a world of today. And that is possible very much in a world of today because of the tools, because of the methodologies, and because of the technology that is enabling that. So to do all of this, the Atal Innovation Mission has embarked on a series of initiatives to induct people into the art of problem solving, into the science of problem solving, and into ensuring that they also develop critical 21st century skills such as design thinking, collaborative innovation, and teamwork, and ethics and integrity in whatever they do, because it is very important. And the knowledge of sustainable development goals, which should go into the product. When you talk of design, how are we ensuring that the design of the product is also ensuring alignment with the sustainable development goals? That is as important as anything else. And therefore, it is very important for us to be able to ensure that design thinking, as well as human-centric thinking, and service-oriented thinking gets embedded into every innovation aligned with sustainable development goals. Now, so in this particular situation, hello, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we have a situation where all of these skills become very important. So the Atal Innovation Mission has launched on a series of initiatives. At the school level, we have launched thousands of tinkering labs called Atal Tinkering Labs, which are dedicated innovation workspaces in schools, in classrooms, where young students from grade 6 to grade 12 are inducted into 3D printing, robotics, IoT, miniaturized electronics, and augmented virtual reality through do-it-yourself kits. And these do-it-yourself kits enable the young students to be able to learn about problem solving by looking at problems in and around the communities they live in and solve the problems in small groups of innovators who work together to create the solution, a prototype of a solution for that particular problem. Sorry. So we have over 10,000 tinkering labs across the country being established, of which 7,000 are operational, and more than 3.5 million students are having access to these labs. Now, along with these technology training, we are also ensuring that they have these critical skills of design thinking and critical thinking, and there are online modules which have been introduced to facilitate all of the same. To support this, we are ensuring that the local academia, the local government, the civil society, as well as the local industry become partners in this initiative. It is not possible for us to develop an innovative nation if we do not have all the stakeholders involved in this activity and joining the innovation bandwagon. At the university level, we have launched hundreds of incubators, fostering thousands